Joel Payne helped direct advertising on Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, and he joins us tonight. So, Joel, it's a really simple question. Impeachment is a constitutional mechanism. There's nothing to be embarrassed about here. As a factual matter, if you think the president has committed crimes, he's demonstrably unfit to preside over the country, and 71, you just heard Byron say, 71% of Democrats believe that, then why lie about it and say we're never going to impeach him when that's what you do to a president you think is...
Man, after listening to that open, you almost convinced me that that was going on, Tucker. That's not what's going on. Democrats aren't lying to cover up their desire to impeach the president. They're trying to find the truth. 71%? They're trying to find the truth as to what happened here. They're trying to get to the bottom of why this president and why his team and his inner circle have decided to cover up their engagement with the Russian government. That's what this is about.
What engagement with the Russian government? I mean, this is such...
Well, we know that...
I hate to plow the same ground once more, but...
members of the president's inner circle and the campaign have already been either have pleaded guilty or have come up with plea deals.
To what exactly? Colluding with Russia? Oh, no, none of them. None of them.
Well, Tucker, the investigation's
No, look, I'm not defending, nor would I ever defend Paul Manafort's sleazy business dealings, which
Okay, and that's the chairman of his campaign.
Great.
Yeah.
But that has nothing to do with colluding with the Russian government. He was working for the Ukrainian government, which is, by the way, a separate government. Hostile to the Russian government.
If you are comfortable with your president having a chair of his campaign that had that kind of interaction with that type of person at the head of his campaign, great, go with that.
I wouldn't be comfortable having dinner with Paul Manafort, personally.
Okay.
I'm just saying that. So this is
so
not...
we've agreed on something
Look, but is this a referendum on the moral character of Paul Manafort? Okay, then I guess he pleads guilty. But this is no. It's a question very specifically about whether or not officials in the Trump campaign colluded with the Russian government to skew the election. There's no evidence of that. There's no suggestion that happened. This whole thing is a crock designed to do what impeachment is designed to do, which is take out a president.
I was actually listening to that conversation you had with Byron and with Jonathan, and what's interesting to me is this. You know, the president has not cooperated with this investigation at all. All we hear is tweet, 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 tweet. And I know you wanted to talk about the fact that the poll numbers are coming down on the Mueller investigation. You want to know why? Because this president is running an opposition campaign against Bob Mueller and his entire team for the last 6 months.
Yeah, well, you're right.
So hey, listen, if I spent 6 months beating you down and saying that Tucker Carlson likes to steal, if I said Tucker Carlson likes to steal cars at night after the store every night, I'm sure I could get a number of people to believe that.
So the president's posture should be what? Hire an exclusively partisan Democratic staff. Whatever you do to me, you can take my campaign chairman and show up with guns drawn at 4:30 in the morning and roust his wife out of bed. You can take Admiral Flynn on the basis of like no real crime and force him to plead guilty by threatening his son. And I just have to stand there and be like, oh, that's totally cool. It's the rule of law. That's not the rule of law.
The president should be honest. He should be forthright. By the way, if I hear perjury traps, too. Perjury traps sound to me, you know what that sounds like to me? You're afraid of your client not being able to tell the truth.
First of all, he's not my client.
I'm not talking about you. I'm saying the president's legal team.
Martha Stewart, a threat to no one, under investigation by this same group of people, roughly speaking, for insider trading. In the end, she went to prison not for insider trading, but because she, quote, lied to a federal agent. Anything you say that can't be proved, if you freelance a little bit, you can go to jail. It happens all the time. That's a real thing. As a liberal, I think you'd be upset about that.
Well, I'm upset about the fact that we have a president that we can't trust in front of a grand jury or in front of an investigative panel. We can't trust that he can tell the truth.
You know, let me just ask. I don't know how many lawyers you know. Go ask the next 3 lawyers you talk. And I'm sincere. Okay. Liberal, doesn't matter what their politics are. Would you talk to the FBI if you weren't compelled to? And not one of them will say yes, because they're terrified of what we were just talking about, getting busted on a perjury charge for misspeaking to a federal agent. That's a...
Tucker, if you and I can't agree on the fact that the president should be willing to go in front of the FBI and tell his honest-to-God story about what happened with this, then we've got bigger problems here.
Really?
If we can't trust the president, if we can't trust our president to not perjure himself in front of Bob Mueller and his team, that's a problem.
Do you think
that's a problem for the president?
Do you think that Martha Stewart should have gone to prison?
This is not about Martha Stewart.
Well, it's about every American in the last 10 years that I've been paying attention who went to federal prison for perjury while speaking to a federal agent. Would you talk to the FBI?
I'll tell you what.
No, I'm serious. It's a sincere question. Yeah. If an FBI agent said, I've got a lot of questions for you, I'm not going to compel you. I just like to come in and talk. Would you do it without a lawyer?
I mean, of course you would do it with a lawyer.
Oh, why? Because you just tell the truth. You're fine.
Tucker, that's not. You're deflecting from the issue here. Like, if you want to have a conversation about Martha Stewart, I'd love to. We can get Martha. We can get Snoop Dogg. We can have a whole conversation.
I would just say, in parting, Joel, never speak to the FBI unless you have to.
Deal.
Thanks. Stormy Daniels' saga, meanwhile, proves the president, they say, and his cronies are predatory criminals. Okay, but if there's a crime here, what is the crime exactly, and who's the victim of it? You hear about the story every single day, but no one ever asked that. We're going to next with Mark Stein. Stay tuned.